I used to love property. I don't hate property. I just don't like tenants. And it's all right to say it in this room because tenants don't like landlords. But yeah, I don't like the nuts and bolts of management of property, but I like the nuts and bolts of management of business. So I guess I fell out of love with it when I'd made enough money that I could retire for many lifetimes. So how did we do it? Well, 2008 was brilliant for us. So back to your recession question. In Peterborough, property prices peaked at around about 06, 07. And it was getting to the point back then where the yields and the returns were actually quite low. And back then, interest rates were 5 and 6%, and that was quite normal. And then the recession happened. And all of a sudden, interest rates pretty quickly went to near zero. And these properties fell 25, 30% within months. And, you know, we just went shopping and we bought dozens of properties with other people's money. And we couldn't believe how cheap they were. Buying properties for between 35 and 70 grand in Peterborough, which are all now worth 150 to 250 grand. So, first thing we did, Joe, was we started in a recession. Mm-hmm. And had we started in 2003, it would have been a lot more difficult. So recession's probably coming, good opportunity to start. Property is actually not that difficult. Get down the high street in your local town or city, get to know all of the estate agents, build a relationship with them, get them to take you seriously, and just make sure that you put enough offers in a year so that they don't think you're wasting their time, and put offers in low enough such that if you got the deal agreed, you'd find the money. Because what a lot of people do is go, well, I'll go and view some properties when I've got the money to buy, which never happens. And then they go and view and then they never put any offers in because they're not ready. Or they don't dare put lower offers in case they upset or offend anyone. If you don't upset or offend anyone, your offer hasn't been low enough. And then once you've got a couple or three or however many, estate agents start to get really hungry, the good ones, and they start calling you up. Deals, the best deals never even get in the window. If you buy properties looking in the window, you're buying stuff at market value. If you get the calls before they even go in the window. The best ones, in estate agency, you have the lister and you have the negotiator. The lister basically goes out, views the property, and wins the listing. And the decent negotiators will have this little under-the-table deal with the lister, whereby on the way back in the car, the lister will phone the neg, and the lister will say, I've just done this deal, and the neg will phone me before the lister gets back to the estate agents, and the neg will say, do you want the deal? And I'll say yes. And it's probably a bit taboo to say this, but I don't give a fuck. But unless you give the estate agent some kind of personal reward for sourcing you deals, they'll source deals to someone else who'll give them a personal reward. And by the way, for us, it was never a bung. We never actually gave any estate agents any cash. Because, you know, the brown envelopes thing's bit for the 80s. But track days and teeth like Joe V over there, tanning vouchers for the female ones. Honestly, I'm not fucking taking the piss. I'm not taking the piss. We got fucking loads of deals on teeth and tanning vouchers. And track days. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. There's a bit.
So you started to fall out of love with property. Is that because you started to fall in love with yourself? And the reason that I say that is you're on a personal brand mission. So you're building you, aren't you? And do you see more value in you than you do in continuing to build your property portfolio?
Okay, so my journey was property investing, business and entrepreneurship, personal brand. Property investing, business and entrepreneurship, personal brand. So I started in property. I loved property. When we got to a certain size in property, I didn't really love the management and maintenance and logistics and administration of property. Then we built training businesses. I have the largest property training company in the UK. It's called Progressive Property. And I really enjoyed teaching others, and I really enjoyed the public speaking element. I enjoyed growing that company. That company has 110 staff in the office with the agency, and we have about 44 outsourcers, so we're over 150 staff now. And I like having a company, and I like having staff. A lot of people don't want staff because they don't want the headaches. I want the headaches because I know with the headaches come the rewards. And I've not fallen out of love with growing companies, Joe, and I don't think I ever will. Personal brand, Joe thinks I'm like him, but I'm not. In that I have a lot of self-conflict. And if I probably wouldn't have put myself on social media had social media not been the place to put yourself. But what I will do is I will do what needs to be done to be successful. Whatever needs to be done, I'll do it. So I'll go on social media, I'll do Facebook Lives, I'll do fucking TikToks, I'll do stories. I fucking hate TikTok. I really fucking hate TikTok. But I do it because it makes me money. I actually love podcasts, I love interviewing people. I quite like doing Facebook Lives now. I don't like doing pre-recorded content. I don't like reading scripts, but I do it. I do it because it needs to be done to win the game. So personal brand is something I probably wouldn't necessarily have chosen to do, Joe. I just did it because another reason I like doing personal brand is because it's far cheaper to grow your business than running ads. So I spend about 350 grand a month on ads. And sometimes you scratch your head going, where the fuck does that money go? And by the way, we track everything, but it's still hard to track because each time I look at our ad spend and I say to my team, we've spent 350 grand this month, that's a fucking lot of money. How about we cut 10% of that? They pull the data out and they go, yeah, but people are buying from ads that we did in 2017, so we need to keep spending the ads so that they'll buy in 2026. And as long as we've got the data to prove that, then I can't really argue with that. So I'm sort of a bit like addicted. Google and Facebook and YouTube, they're like your crack dealers that they've got you that if I stop spending 350 grand, I could make a bit more net profit for the next few months. But in 2024, my margins are going to go way down and my lead volume is going to go way down. So I'll spend what needs to be spent and I'll do what needs to be done to grow my business. But I feel a bit controlled by the ad platforms. Whereas when you've got a personal brand and you're on social media, you can say what you want, do what you want, and your leads and your clients are free. So I've got a membership site, it's called rob.team.
Can I just put it into context before you go on to that and just let us know what sort of turnover £350,000 a month generates you?
So at peak before lockdown, our highest revenue year was 21 million. It dropped to about 12 in lockdown, but our profit went up. It's back up now to probably 16 to 18. I think we'll do 16 to 18 this year. Our overheads are about 900 grand a month, and that is split pretty much a third between ads, staff, and then everything else like premises and rent and rates and yada yada. So that's rough. And
the reason I'm asking
that's the training company, not the property investment business.
Yeah, I'm asking that just because I want everybody in the room to understand about the amount of money that does need to be spent on marketing if you want to grow your revenues. I think people want to grow sales, but they don't understand that they've got to pump the front end with that marketing spend, especially with a lot of businesses in the room being in construction. A lot of people have built businesses based on connections and word of mouth. So advertising, marketing, social media, brand, it's not something that business owners in this space are really, really used to. So I'm always encouraging the business owner to triple down on the marketing spend to drive the sales. I just wanted to kind of pin that down for you because the question is, how much are you spending on marketing every month and what are your current sales? Because there'll be a direct correlation between how much you spend and how much revenue that you're achieving. Your revenue is not going to keep growing unless you're spending lots of money at the front end and you keep scaling that up. Profitably, of course, if you can do, but you've got to build it out.
I remember learning from a marketing expert about 15 years ago when I wasn't spending much money on ads and I was wearing it like a badge of honor. I've got all my business from word of mouth. I don't need to spend on ads. Normally when someone says that 6 to 12 months later, they're fucked. And we've all said it. And then you're fucked because you don't have a pipeline and you need a pipeline. And he said to me, the person or company that can spend the most to acquire a client will win the game. Because if your competitor can spend more than you to acquire a client, assuming it's profitable, by the way, not a loss leader, then they can just outspend you. So this is really important. You should write this down. The person who can spend the most to acquire the client wins the game. I mean, imagine launching a soft drinks company, a fizzy, brown, watered soft drinks company. Well, Coca-Cola can spend billions just on the World Cup. And they can get in front of 1 billion people because they can spend that kind of money. So, yeah, I'm not saying go and waste a load of money. It's absolutely vital as well. Write this down. You cannot master what you do not measure. Therefore, you must track all your marketing spend. On the note, though, of advertising and how I feel a bit cornered by these companies, imagine how pissed you would be if you were Budweiser. I don't know if you saw what happened with Budweiser, but, Budweiser are sponsoring the Qatar World Cup and there's no alcohol in the stadiums. And I bet you they've dropped $1 billion plus on that sponsorship deal. This is the problem with that. You can spend a load of money and it can just not work. So, with ads, start small, test everything. Start small, test everything. The next thing I was just going to mention is when you've got your own personal brand and you've got listeners of your podcast and viewers of your YouTube and followers of your TikTok and your Instagram and Facebook, you can use that to build your business. So I have many clients who are a 6-figure client to me. And I would have acquired them from social media. And I have clients who pay £6 a month for Rob.team, and I acquired them on social media. I have 10,000 members of that membership site, all acquired from social media, no ads at all. Because £6 a month, I don't want to have to spend 50 quid to acquire a £6 a month client, which is what some software firms would do. But you can acquire them for free on social media. So if you're not putting yourself out on social media, then the clients that you haven't got, that your competitors have got, can't find you. And I was running a social media mastermind yesterday with, we've all got around about 2 million followers each on social media, a bit above or a bit below, but give or take. And everyone said the same thing. We are in the world where attention is currency. You don't have attention, you don't have currency. If you're not known, how can someone buy from you if they don't know you? And social media is the best place to get known.